dogs and cats living together. That's terrible. Okay, so we finally have it down. Okay, so good is bad, but bad is not good. Okay, right? That's what we're going with. Okay, so good. No, so right. Well, I'm trying to get this right. Okay, so good is bad, and bad is good. I think I finally have it. Oh, you know what? Old Uncle Jeff will be so proud. I have it. So good is bad, but bad is not good. So the inverse isn't the exact. So even though good is bad, that doesn't mean that bad is good. Okay, I think that's it. I think that's right. I think that's how it all works out. But anyway, so here we are. It is what is it? 11:13 here on the third day of August in the year 2024 on the soggy wet campus at the University of Richmond. You're listening to the only award-winning radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real media puppet from the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell. I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday morning. I want to thank everyone, of course, for joining in. We do have the Sam Cams live up and running at Sam Newsman on Instagram, at Sam Newsman on Facebook, YouTube, and X. And real quick, before we get to our guest, who I believe they do have the number. So they'll be calling in just a few moments. Secret number, new number. Well, I say secret new number. Well, but yes, you have the number, I believe. So I'll be calling that in just a few moments. Here, we'll get to that here in just a little bit. But before we do, one of the things I wanted to say was thank you to everyone, because we have made it as in the top 3. We have made the top 3 for the best morning radio show here in Richmond, Virginia, by the Richmond Times-Dispatch. And of course, we were able to do that because of all of you. This show being syndicated on the internet and most of the votes coming from out of state. Yet this is the best local morning radio show. And here we are on a small independent signal, yet we are setting the standard, raising the bar. And once again, we have made the top 3, and we will say exactly where we are once we find out around September the 12th. So just be tuned, stay tuned for all of that. It's very, very exciting. And I say all of that because one thing that is very, very exciting to me is the idea of a comic book. Are you familiar with comic books? So comic books are very interesting because those are really the foundation of what we have today in terms of pop culture, superheroes, and everything. There was no television in the 1930s. There was radio. There was radio, but there was no television. So all the superheroes that you see on TV, the cartoons and everything, you have to look back to comic books. Comic books is where it all started. And I'll tell you what, the idea of creating a comic in today's it seems like a crowded mess of entertainment. And it only seems like that what's popular is just rehashes, a rehash after a rehash after a rehash. So then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, I hear that one of my buddies, Cato, familiar with him from Cato's Collection over on YouTube, he reviews toys and action figures. But it came across my desk that Cato is actually making a comic book. Not a 3-panel comic in the newspaper. No. I'm talking like an actual comic book. And so I was like, well, hey, I have some questions about this. So you know what I did? I hit up Cato and I said, Cato, you need to come on here and tell me about this comic book and the whole idea of creating a comic book. And I'm glad to say that I do have Cato with me right now. Cato, how are you, sir?
If I were any better, I'd be twins.
That's right. That's right. You'd be twins. That's good. So Kato, listen, this idea of creating a comic, a lot of people want to sit there and say, "Hey, I want to create something. I want to create a comic book." And where did this whole idea of wanting to create a comic book come from?
Well, first off, congratulations on making the top three.
Oh well. Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
But as far as where the idea of creating a comic book, well, for a long time on some of my streams and stuff, I said, man, it'd be really cool to have this certain type of character or toy or comic come out, and you hear people in the comments say, well, make one or what have you. And, well, I got over years of doing this, I've gotten to know some really cool people that do some really amazing things. And one of those people is Quentin Bedwell. You may know him. He has done some of the box art for Valorous. He's done quite a few of some more recent artwork that's been circulating Facebook and everything. Real talented guy, real nice guy. He and I were we started a little, I guess you want to call it a comic book company. I'm using air quotes, a brand called Synchronized Bowel.
Okay. Okay.
Messaging one another at a specific point in our life or a specific time of day. And we had come up with the idea of why not do our own comic book uh, set in the old American West.
Whoa, wait a minute. Whoa, pause. Wait, hold on, pause. You just tickled my eardrums right there. You said the old west. Now I know that there's been superhero, supernatural, there's been all, kind of this, but just have a new IP, a new western IP, set in the old west, talk a little bit about this idea and why you decided to set it in the old west.
Well, we started out wanting to do just a pretty standard, cowboy hero, outlaw, Western comic. And then we kept sitting around the idea about, what one, there's not a lot of Westerns. I'm a big fan of Westerns, spaghetti Westerns,
Me too.
the new Horizon movie with Kevin Costner was just out. But man, I'd love to see westerns make a comeback. And there's just not a lot set in that time frame. There's a few out there, and they're really good, but there's not a lot. And like you mentioned, everything is like a rehash, a reboot, a retake. It's so formulaic about how everything's going. And I'm no writer, but I can come up with some pretty creative stuff every once in a while. And of course, Quentin's a brilliant artist. So we just sat down and I wrote out like a synopsis of, or actually I was driving down the road and I did a voice memo to send to him of what I thought maybe the first issue, which turns out it'll be issue zero, the first one to come out, should be. And he loved it. And he talked to a couple people and they loved it. And the next thing you know, we've got a few characters growing up and just, and I've come up with a few folks. And now I'm including issue zero. We have two, three, about four issues written. And there may be some tweaks to that as we go on, but yeah, four issues written and turned into Quentin, and he's working on the arts of the characters. And before long, he's going to start working on the panels and the actual pages of issue zero.
Well, that's very interesting. I am familiar with Quentin and Quentin's work. Very amazing artist. Now, when it comes to getting the panels and everything done, and then it goes to publishing. How does the publishing aspect work, and do you guys plan on doing in terms of publishing, getting this out to maybe an independent studio or self-publishing? How is the publishing aspect with your own comic? How does all of that work?
Well, we have a couple ideas as far as physical copies. We do want physical copies. We want people to be able to have a hard copy of a comic book in their hand, like it's meant to be. But we will have digital options too. But there's a few different things we've talked about as far as publishing goes. Probably self-published. We're not gonna, at least at this stage, we're not thinking about turning it into a studio and letting them publish it. But we considered releasing issue 0 for free, letting just folks have the digital version of that for free. We got to talk about that. Then once we have 3, 4 issues, maybe more complete, we might think about doing something like Kickstarter or Indiegogo. The reason we want so much of it complete is if we go Kickstarter or if we decide to crowdfund, when the crowdfund ends, we don't want people waiting a long time, a year. It's not like a figure has to be made or anything. We want them to be able to have something fairly quickly, shipped or sent to their email as quickly as the crowdfunding went in. So we want to have 3, 4 issues complete 100% so that when the crowdfunding ends, they can have it right away.
Well, and that also gives them more to purchase as well, as opposed to just one issue, maybe 3, 4 issues, and then it gives you different options. I guess these crowd-funded things, there's different options. So it's not just the comic. Maybe you get all 4 comics, then you get a bonus or this or some kind of lithograph. Who knows? But I'm sure that you guys are all right. Yeah, right. Just right for sure. I want to sign. Listen, I want a signed copy. I want one.
No idea what that's going to look like yet, but yeah, definitely want to offer folks something that is fun and unique, and who knows, depending on what we can come up with down, as we go along, we'll make sure we have some stuff for folks to make it fun. And who knows, there's possibility of some action figures. I'd love to see some Western character action figures out there in the 6-inch scale, and we've talked to a few folks interested in maybe bringing that possibility to light if the comic takes off well enough that people want it.
Well, listen, as long as I have a cameo somewhere, that's all that matters to me. Because my beautiful puppet face, we do the whole action farce thing. Definitely want to have my beautiful puppet face somewhere in the old West, and I'm sure that you guys will figure it out some kind of way. But it's definitely not impossible. Now you do have a main character, and you have a name for this. What is the name? What is the character? Yeah, talk about that.
The character is called Jacob Kane. I won't reveal too much, but it's a supernatural fantasy. So yeah, I mentioned earlier we were talking about doing a western and doing a regular old western, but then as we started talking more, we were like, man, it'd be really fun to make this more close to fantasy horror. I won't throw that horror word out there much, but it's basically a supernatural fantasy set in the old west. Maybe some sort of cowboy. I won't say demon hunter, but I put a teaser out on Facebook a while back that said, there are those out there that would tell you that gods and monsters aren't real; they're lying to you, and it's going to be interesting. So,
well, listen, I'm excited. So
bad guys, and this time it's good old Jacob Kane.
So the Book of Jacob Kane is what it's called now. And do we have a time frame of when this will be released? A projected time frame?
As soon as possible. Like I said, it's my part's easy. Like I say, my part's pretty easy. I just have to come up with some of the ideas and script it out reasonably well. Again, I'm no script writer. It's the hard part is, and probably the best part of the whole thing is Quentin having to read my mind and translate what we think we need to see on the page, and then split that up into panels and do all the work. So his part is definitely the toughest part. I got nothing but love for artists out there that have to deal with idiots like me trying to write stuff down and make it interesting. So the time frame is pretty loose right now, but as soon as possible.
All right. Well, I'm looking forward to a nice Christmas present. So no pressure. No pressure. No, listen. I know what it is. But listen, Cato, thank you so much. Listen, this is really great. I've never listen. This is the first time that I've really heard about people making comics, and we live in a modern age now where self-publishing seems to be the way to go. So I was just wondering how this whole process works, and I guess if there's anything that you can encourage people who might want to create their own comic books or do something creative, what are some just a few tips that you could just give them about this process?
Well, it's never been easier, right? It's never been easier to. I'm not saying it's easy, but it's never been easier to get your ideas out there. If you got the desire to want to write something down, and you know somebody who can do the art, then maybe you can do both, or vice versa. You can do the art, and you know someone that has a story. I mean, nowadays with digital release and things like Indiegogo and Kickstarter, it's never really been an easier time to get something out there. I think the probably the important thing, and Quentin and I both talked about this. Like, I really don't care if we make money at it. Like, if we do, awesome, but it's really just fun. So I think that's the start. Like, I have no inclination of making a living at this, so it probably makes it a lot easier to an easier pill to swallow as far as just doing something, because it's just for fun right now. If something else comes out of it, outstanding. If not, it was a good time.
Well, I'll tell you what is a good time is whenever you show up here with me. In fact, I had somebody just mention that Cato has a great radio voice, so they're able to say so. Yeah, so I think that's really fun right now. Cato, where can everyone follow you on social media?
Well, I have a face for radio. I get it. I see what you're saying.
No, well, I didn't say that.
You can follow me on Instagram, Facebook, YouTube. I am on X, but I'm really terrible at putting stuff on X right now. But yeah, I'm all across social media. Definitely on YouTube. I could absolutely use the support there. YouTube hates toy channels, so anyone that's not subscribed there, come hang out with me. We do live streams and talk to cool people like you. You were on the show recently. Thank you for that.
Oh yeah, it's always fun. Always an honor too when I get to hang out with you. Even though we both know that GoBots are better and Rock Lords are superior. Yeah, that's it. That's you know what? I couldn't have said it better myself. With a glorious radio voice, that is Cato. Cato, thank you so much for being a part of the show today, and we look forward to the adventures of Jacob Kane. Absolutely. That is Cato. Make sure you follow Cato at Cato's Collection all over social media. The Book of Jacob Kane. The Book of Jacob Kane coming soon. A Western, supernatural Western, which is fantastic. Another thing that is fantastic, if you follow me at Sam Newsman all over social media, we'll be back in just a few moments. Also, yeah, one more thing. We made the top 3. Ha! Here on the only award-winning radio show dedicated to the magic and nostalgia of Saturday morning, hosted by me, a real media puppet. From the most trusted puppet in media, reporting since Roswell, I'm Sam Newsman, and this is Saturday Morning.